What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Donnie Cash back with a new episode, Cooking with Donnie Cash. Today we making baked ziti. Let's go. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm browning my ground beef. Or browning my ground beef. Sorry about that. So I'm just gonna brown my ground beef because what I'm making this today with, I'm making this with ground beef and Italian sausages. So while that's browning, I'm sorry, I don't know what's wrong with me today. I don't know. While that's browning, I'm gonna cut up my Italian sausages. So you just cut these pretty fine. Not too fine, but you're just gonna cut them in nice pieces. Just because with me personally, I don't like anything chunky. So that's why I'm cutting into nice pieces. But I don't want it too fine because that's what the ground beef is for. Okay. So just get that cut up. I'm cutting up 3 pieces of Italian sausages. I'm just gonna put that to the side. Then I'm gonna put I got some penny pasta that I'm making a baked ziti with. So let that boil. Now while the penny pasta is boiling, I'm also gonna add some oil to it. Soybean oil. I use some soybean oil. Put it in there. What that does is that gives the pasta. It doesn't make it stick together basically. So I add the oil and I add a little bit of salt in it. And this is the pink Himalayan salt. This is what I usually use when I do use salt. So I'm just going to take about 1-2 tablespoons of salt and just let that just cook down with that. So my beef is browning. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these sausages to the side while that's browning right now. That's going to leave that to the side. And I'm going to cut up my whole, I'm going to put my sausage to the side real quick. Just cut that up, use the Italian sausage that I'm putting in my ground beef. I'm just going to put these to the side for right now while the ground beef is cooking. And this is actually a pretty easy meal. Sometimes people, they don't even know how easy these meals are to cook. They feel like, oh, I got to go to a fancy restaurant, or I got to do this, or I got to go to somebody else to cook this because it's too hard. But it's not. Even though it's a nice, good meal, it's not really hard. This is something that's pretty quick and easy, and this is a really good meal. So I'm just letting the ground beef brown. Now, the thing about it is I don't want to brown the ground beef too much. So you want to just cook it until all the pink is out of it. So I'm just letting that cook down for now. Wash my board off. Okay. So then now what I did is I just washed my board off. And the reason why you want to make sure you wash, the reason why I did this right now is to wash my board off because I just cut meat in here. You don't want to cut meat and vegetables on the same board with the same knife because it can give you salmonella poisoning. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting up my Holy Trinity. First we're going to start off with a yellow onion. Put a good generous portion of that. And this meal I don't want to put too much vegetables in it, so I'm just going to make it simple. Just cut that down. Put that to the side. Okay. That's about a good amount of yellow onions. Just cut them like not too fancy. I'm going to cut my red onion. Now this is my Holy Trinity. So what I do, most people they add onion, yellow onion, celery, and bell pepper. But I use, instead of celery, I use a red onion. So I'm just cutting pieces of red onion. Then you want to make sure you watch your ground beef because you don't want it to burn. Like I said, we only just getting this to where the pink is out. You see the pink is almost out. So this is almost ready. And I got my pasta cooking. Just give that a stir real quick. And you can just see the ground beef, see how it is. Like what I said, you want to get all the pink out of it. So you see it still got a little pink in it, so I'm just going to cook that down. So you don't want to cook this all the way. You just want to cook it until it's like all the pink out of it because this is going to cook again actually. Basically, just go cook it and drain. That's doing that. I'm just going to cut up my red onion. cut them however you want to cut them. I'm cutting them the wrong way right now. Doesn't matter however you cut them. Right there, and my bell pepper. It completes my holy trinity. And you got to be able to multitask in the kitchen as well. Because if you notice, I'm cutting my vegetables and I'm also watching my ground beef because everything is time consuming. You don't want that to burn, and then you don't want your pasta to burn, so you want to make sure you keep an eye on all of that. Just cut this up real fine, cut these up as fine as I can. Like I said, you don't have to cut them too fine, but just cut it up fine as you can. Well, that's me. That's my personal preference. I just don't like anything chunky in my food like that, so I just cut it up as fine as I can. Alright. And then this ground beef, so if you see, I didn't cook it well to where it's cooked all the way. And I'm just cooking it like that. And what I'm going to do is just take a container and just put this in the container. Try to like leave as much of the grease in the pan as you can. You don't want, because you don't want to eat grease. You don't want, that's the whole point of browning the ground beef, is to get the grease out of it. Just about a little piece you can, I'll clean it up. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, so I get all the ground beef out of here, everything out, make sure everything is out. Like I said, you probably gonna get a little oil, but who cares? All right, so I put that back on, and what I'm gonna do with that same oil, I'm gonna take the Italian sausage that I chopped up earlier, and just throw this in the oil. Now, when I put that in the oil, I'm gonna let that cook down for a little bit. And I'm going to throw my vegetable, my holy trinity in there as well with that. Okay? So while that's cooking, what I'm going to take some brown sugar, organic raw sugar actually. You can use organic raw sugar or brown sugar. The reason I said brown sugar because I mostly use brown sugar. So I got some organic raw sugar right now. And I'm just going to put 1 tablespoon of that in. Now this is to your liking, to your preference. I'm a diabetic, so I don't want to put too much in there for me, but I'm going to put 1 tablespoon. Now also, another thing about me being diabetic, I don't use salt a lot. But when I do use salt, I use a pink Himalaya salt or kosher salt. But on beef, only on beef, I use salt. So I'm going to use a little bit of it because I don't want to make this too salty. Put that to the side. Then I'm going to go over here, and I don't know if you guys remember this from the last video, but what we have here is some eppies. Now, eppies is a dish that I learned how to make. Well, not even a dish. It's a sauce that I learned how to make from the Haitian people. And this is like my go-to on every meal. So I'm going to put a good generous amount of eppies in there. Actually, I'm going to let this sausage cook a little bit of eppies as well. I'm going to go ahead and turn this. And you see the sausage cooking out there in the same exact grease that we just browned the ground beef in. So you see, when this sausage gets like to cooking and it's almost ready, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw that Holy Trinity in there. Just mix all this in. Mix all of this in. Alright? And then while that's doing that, to a bowl, what I'm going to do, to a bowl I'm going to add some ricotta cheese, and I'm going to add about a good amount, about 5 scoops of ricotta cheese. And this is for the base of the baked beef. Let's get you all in here. Make sure, like, when you put your vegetables and your meat together, make sure that, I don't know if you noticed, the vegetables just sitting on the top. You're going to mix them all in together to make sure they're all cooking. Because if the vegetables sit on top, only the meat's cooking, and then the vegetables are not cooking. So you want to make sure you just blend everything in so they can cook evenly. And we don't let that sit. Let that simmer in there for now. And alright, so I got some nice tomato sauce. So to this bowl, I'm gonna add a little bit of the sauce. Only a little bit. Well, I got some sauce in my shirt today. And then I'm gonna add some of these diced tomatoes as well. A little bit because I'm gonna save that for the sauce. And I'm also gonna add some cheese. What I do is this is another secret ingredient. I use the cheese packet from Kraft Mac and Cheese. Let's put that over there. Ingredient. And I'm also going to use some Parmesan cheese as well. Parmesan. So we're mixing this all in a bowl. I mix some pasta sauce, crushed tomatoes, Parmesan, and ricotta cheese. Mix all that in together. We're going to get a good amount of Parmesan as well. While I'm doing that, I'm going to go back over here and check on my onions and my meat. And this is almost actually pretty, this is about done. Second. Now I'm just going to stir this. And if you notice here, I took the spoon out of the meat and put it in the pasta. It's all going in one pan, so it really doesn't matter. Now, what I was saying beforehand, if you cut your meat, you don't want to cut your meat and your onions together because that could give you salmonella. But this is fine. This is perfectly fine because they're both cooking. Now I'm going to go back and I'm actually going to turn this off for now. Put a little coconut milk. Put that in the sauce that I'm making. And then I'm going to season my meat. So when I'm seasoning my meat, I use a lot of different sauce. I use the Tony's Creole seasoning. I'm also going to use some cayenne pepper, some organic cayenne pepper, black pepper, black pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and remember my secret weapon? Well, this is for diabetics, so this is diabetic friendly, cumin. And like I said before, I add cumin and cinnamon to basically everything that I make. And then we're gonna go with some cinnamon, I just mentioned that. And with the cumin and cinnamon, you wanna be really light with it, because if you put too much, you are gonna taste it in your food and it's not a good taste. The cumin or cinnamon is something that you're eating, basically. They're good for other things, but not if you like eating a meal like this. So I just put some Cajun seasoning, I'm putting some complete seasoning. I'm also going to add some vanilla extract, which is another secret weapon of mine. And I'm just going to add this actually in the sauce. Add 2 caps of this. Another secret weapon is some teriyaki sauce. You guys probably thinking, wow. I'm going to add just 1 cap of that. And I'm going to go with some W sauce. And that's all. Alright, so I'm just going to add 1 cap of the W sauce. Then the last thing I'm going to add to this sauce is some heavy cream. Now that's my sauce. That's the sauce right there. I'm also going to add some Epi to the sauce. I love Epi, so I'm going to add that to a lot of different things. And then what we're going to do, we're going to get this sauce going now. So now I just completed the sauce stage. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this out. Try to get all that grease there. Take this out, the Italian sausages. Place them in another separate pan. It's Italian sausage and my holy trinity. And then another thing is about the pasta. You got to make sure you wash the pasta because the pasta cooks very quick. So you got to make sure you watch that. And then while I put that in there, this is the meat that I just seasoned up, which is my ground beef. Put all this and combine this in one pan. Okay. And why not? Just for extra measures for good luck. Well, actually, I don't believe in luck, for blessings. So we're going to put 1 more spoon of Epi's. And then that sauce that I just made, just get this over here, just get this ready. Stir it in. Make sure everything just comes together. And remember I told you to save the pasta sauce. Don't use all of it, and the crushed tomatoes? That's because this is gonna go in here. That's the crushed tomatoes. And we're just gonna cook this down. Alright. We're just gonna cook this all together. Make sure all this just comes in together. Make sure it just go. It's just the sauce to spread it evenly through the meat, and this is gonna be my sauce. So this is my meat sauce that I'm making right now. Like I said, something very simple, quick. Might a long day of work or whatever you do. Long day, you want to come home and you want to just make something simple and quick that's very tasty. It's a good meal, and you're gonna see how quick this is. It's also a good meal for family because all of these ingredients didn't really cost much. They don't cost much. So if you got a big family, you could buy this, and this could feed a pretty decent family, pretty big family basically. All right, so actually I just had a long day myself. Had a long day, and I'm actually coming home to do this for you guys, showing you how I do it. So I'm just playing with this right now, getting everything equally portioned out. Just let that simmer. Now we're gonna go back to my meat. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go back to my pasta because I have my pasta sizzling. And then the pasta, you just gotta eyeball it, make sure check it to see how it looks, see if it's soft or not. And I think this is about soft or not enough. So what I'm gonna do is just dump this. I'm just gonna go to the sink. Just dump that out. Right there. And what I'm gonna do with that pasta, I'm gonna add this to the sauce that I made earlier. The sauce with the ricotta cheese. So we're just gonna add that pasta in there. Add a good amount. I usually don't use all the pasta whenever I make spaghetti, pasta, any Italian dish. I usually don't use all of it. I usually come out. It depends. Like I said, if you have a family, a bigger family, and you can't use all of it. For me personally, I didn't use all of the pasta, so I'm just going to use some of that. And this is going to be just enough for my sauce. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little bit of this meat sauce that I'm making, just about 2 spoons of it, and I'm going to add this in my pasta sauce. About 2 spoons of that. Just let that simmer down while that's simmering down. All right. While that's simmering down, let me just get my pan ready. Very simple, guys. You can see the process is so simple. I try to make it as simple as possible for you guys so you can see step by step how easy this stuff really is. So you can see this. The sauce was white before, now it's turning a little red because I put a little of my meat sauce in there. And that meat sauce is almost done actually. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take some butter first actually. Get some butter. And I'm gonna place this at the bottom of my dish that I'm baking with. So it tastes like 2 spoons of butter. Place like 2 spoons of butter in there or whatever. Try to equally put one on one side and they won't stay right now. It's all good. So what I'm gonna do once I put that butter in there, butter is the base. Make sure you put the butter on at the bottom. And then I'm just gonna take some of this pasta sauce that I made. Put 2 scoops. 2 scoops of the pasta sauce. Alright. And then the meat sauce is basically done as well because you don't have to cook it all the way because this is going to bake as well. So you cook it to as much as you can, basically. And I'm just going to take 2 spoons of the meat sauce. Just put that right on top. And just equally share this up, equal as possible. Go back to the pasta sauce. Take 2 more scoops of that. Meat sauce. 2 more scoops. Just equally share this out until this is all dissolved. Actually, I could put 3 scoops of the meat sauce right now. I could put a lot of the meat sauce. Alright. Then we'll go right back to this pasta sauce. That's probably going to be the last step. And if you notice, I didn't use any cheese. Cheese is optional. You could put cheese in it, but what I'm gonna do is put the cheese on the top of mine. So you could cook it with cheese. I'm trying to cut back on things like that, like cheese and milk and bread and things like that. So I didn't cook this with cheese, but I'm gonna put cheese on top of it. But that's about enough for that. So basically, that's just the finished product. What we're gonna do, I'm just put a little bit of cheese on top of this, put this in the oven, bake it, then I'll be back with the finished process. Stay tuned. Cash.